That's actually a really good point that in my mind got clouded by the fact that he's coddling violent criminals. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear any excuses for anyone. I don't care if it's politically motivated. I don't care if it's just someone who's off their rocker because they're high on bath salts. If someone is posing a threat to people, including police officers, they should suffer the consequences for that.
Well, I think we all believe that. We're all right-thinking people believe that. A lot of liberals and leftists don't believe that, of course. They think, criminals are just misunderstood and, they've been let down by society and all of that. As you can see, we're back on the Young Turks today with Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur discussing one of Trump's big pardons that he signed on his very first day, right after being inaugurated. The pardon for all the January 6ers who are languishing or have been languishing in jail or in some cases still awaiting trial, if you can believe that, after all these years. So Trump, as far as I understand, he just pardoned them all. And I think he pardoned the vast majority of them and commuted the sentences of some of them. So as you can imagine, Young Turks, Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are not quite on board with that. Let's take a look and see what they have to say exactly.
Donald Trump has now issued sweeping pardons for those who were convicted of crimes related to the January 6th Capitol riots in 2021, including those caught on camera violently attacking police. So he pardoned nearly all of the 1,500 people charged. More than 1,100 of them had already been convicted. The rest had their cases pending. So 717 of them were sentenced to time behind bars. 251 of them were sentenced to home confinement. And while pardoning virtually all of those charged, Donald Trump did commute the sentences of 14 others, and that includes several individuals who were actually convicted of seditious conspiracy. Now, Trump's pardons also include 700 defendants who were convicted and completed their prison sentences or were never ordered to serve time. And more than 900 of these defendants actually pleaded guilty through their trials, through the court process. Now, obviously, all of this flies in the face of Trump and JD Vance's promise that he would issue pardons on a case-by-case basis and not pardon those who engaged in violent acts. So, for example, Vice President JD Vance had said just days ago that people responsible for the violence during the Capitol riot obviously should not be pardoned, but they were pardoned by Donald Trump. So more than 100 police officers were injured. 200 people were found guilty of assaulting cops. Those people have been pardoned. Some were.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. If you commit, do the crime, you got to serve the time. But the question is, in a lot of these cases, and I haven't studied these J6 cases specifically, so please feel free to comment and let me know if you know more about this. But it seems to me that a lot of them were, obviously committed some sort of crime, but that they were punished excessively for the crimes they committed. So there are literally people who, like commit manslaughter or even murder and get less time than some of these guys got. So if you picked up one of those fences and were hitting cops with it, knocking them down and stuff, first of all, it's assault and battery of some sort, I guess. Plus, it's assault against a policeman, and that should be worse, against public officials. Yeah, I agree. That should carry a stiffer penalty. But it's been 4 years, since J6, and surely whatever penalty you get for rioting and busting some windows, it shouldn't. You should have already served your time by now. Yeah. So, and the thing is, a lot of these guys too, I suppose they had multiple charges against them. So not just, so say you picked up your stick and hit a cop with it. Okay, that's one charge, but presumably all of them were charged with something like sedition or treasonous, whatever it was, seditious activities or whatever. They're charged with lots of different charges. So it probably was just impossible for Trump are just way too much work, basically, for Trump to go through each and every individual's case and say, okay, well, we'll pardon him on this and then commute him on this and all this. So, frankly, I think a blanket pardon and some commutations is probably just the easiest and most efficient way to get it done, frankly. But let's carry on with this video and see what they have to say.
Were armed with poles, bats, and bear spray. A former Metropolitan Police officer by the name of Michael Fanone lost consciousness and then later suffered a heart attack after a rioter shot him in the chest with a stun gun. Now, Trump also pardoned former Proud Boys chairman Enrique Tarrio, who was sentenced in 2023 to 22 years in prison and commuted the sentence of Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes, who was ordered to spend 18 years behind bars for plotting to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Now, Tarrio has already been released from prison, and I want to kind of draw attention to one other specific individual who's been pardoned and is now free, and that person is a gentleman by the name of Matthew Kroll. So he is highlighted in the video that we're about to watch right now. He's the one wearing the red hoodie. You can't really tell because it's so far away, but he's an older gentleman. He stole a police baton from an officer and then proceeded to use the baton to assault police. According to the Department of Justice, Matthew Kroll, 64 years old, of Linden, Michigan, was sentenced to 51 months in prison and 36 months of supervised release. He actually pleaded guilty on August 15th of 2023 to one count of assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers using a dangerous weapon, which is a felony. So he is also a self-professed executive officer of the Genesee County, Michigan Volunteer Militia, and also an associate of the Wolverine Watchmen, which is an extremist group comprised of individuals who are also convicted in the plot to overturn the election. And it's just, look, I'm not in favor of violent crime, regardless of who does it, okay? I get mad at the left when they coddle violent criminals. I'm gonna get mad at the right for coddling violent criminals. You wanna make a case for pardoning some of the people who wandered into the Capitol building, didn't actually use violence against anyone, and got caught up in it, that's fine. Pardoning guys like Matthew Kroll, who stole a baton from a police officer and then proceeded to assault him, and other officers with said baton? How are you gonna make an argument in favor of releasing that guy?
Yeah, so look, I love doing the show with you guys. We're live 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday through Friday, as you guys know, on YouTube. And so we've got chat polls going on right now when you guys think of the different Bidens, the different pardons, the Biden pardons, the Trump pardons, etc. And I want to give voice to a couple of members, and then I want to come back and tell you what I think of Trump's pardons. Brian Hurst said on Super Chat, Trump ran out saying he would pardon January 6ers, promises made, promises kept. Biden said he would never and did worse. So that's an interesting point of view, and it is fair to say it's like people shouldn't be surprised. So that actually bothers me when people are like, oh, I can't believe Trump pardoned these people. Why can't you believe it? He said he was going to, and then he won the election. And then he did. Why are you pretending to be surprised? It just, like there's a lot of people in mainstream media that do that. Oh, I am shocked and chagrined by this.
I'm actually surprised that Trump did it also, frankly, given how many, campaign promises he did not carry through on in his first term. He seems to have a different energy this time around, and he's off to a very good start. So kudos to Trump for taking care of business, of keeping that promise on the very first day of his second term.
Guys, what did you think he was gonna do?
I mean, he ran on it, but he also made it appear as though he was gonna be a lot more nuanced in issuing these pardons. He wasn't.
Oh, yeah, but that's like, for me, Trump acting in self-interest is baked in. Of course he's gonna do the most outrageous thing. So I don't know, I'm not 1% surprised by it. I think, I love how open-minded our audience is, so many different points of view here. First, post-traumatic stress disorder says, I don't give a bleep how it looks. I'm relieved for Fauci. They were going to dog that poor man into an early grave. On the other hand, Newfie Dragon says, this is why I love TYT and Cenk. I never once considered the future powerful, disastrous ramifications of Biden's preemptive pardons. Now, one last one for you guys. These are all members from TYT.com. You can sign up there as well, be part of the show. Worst case scenario, Dragon says, I'm not that mad at pardoning on January 6 people. Trump got them into that mess, told them the POTUS was behind them, convinced them that it was the right thing to do.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, I agree. That is a good point. Of course, the Democrats will just say, well, that just means Trump, should be convicted himself or should be tried himself. Well, all that's over now. So overall, yes, I'm glad that Trump pardoned these guys. I'm glad it's a blanket pardon. I'm glad it will piss off the Democrats and the liberals and all that. I think Trump, somehow I think he's just enjoying the energy of this. This is like the hatred, all the hate he's surrounded with just gives him energy. And if he keeps up this, if he carries on doing things like this, if he carries on, like if he actually executes on his other promises, for example, carrying out raids. He said he claimed he was going to carry out raids in various cities almost immediately, to look for illegal immigrants. And frankly, I think those raids should also include finding out employers who hire illegal immigrants. I think they should be punished too. Absolutely. We got to attack the problem from both ends, as far as I'm concerned. So they should be punished, or they should be made perhaps to hire, legal citizens, but and pay them super high wages or something. But they should be punished one way or another. So if he actually manages to do all these things, because as soon as those raids start, if he does launch them, his support is going to just skyrocket. If he keeps delivering on these promises, support for Trump will go through the roof. It will be unprecedented. And raids on illegal immigrants, and I mean, there's so many. There's millions, tens of millions of them in the United States, just the illegals, and not just raids on illegal immigrants, but closing off the border. Like apparently he's already done. I heard that the CBP-1 app no longer works. There's been all these pictures in the news already of migrants at the border, looking at their CBP-1 app, and it's no longer working, and their appointment with what do they call it, like an asylum judge, has just been canceled or something, and they're crying, and of course the news is trying to make us feel sorry for them. Well, if we were a serious country, things would never have got to this situation in the first place. And yes, I feel bad for those people. They were lied to. They were told that if you just walk up through Central America and walk up to the border, that the dumb Yankees will let you in, and they'll give you free food, and give you vouchers and money and a place to stay and a bus ride to some town somewhere. Yeah, they were told that. They were lied to, but it's got to stop somewhere. So if he keeps doing that, if he does the raids, if he punishes people who hire illegals, if he completely overhauls the visa system, the legal visa system, wow, his approval rating will be sky high. And whoever is anointed to take over from him in 2028 will just be a shoo-in, I think. So let's see where Trump goes. But very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always eager to hear to read what you have to say. And in the meantime, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.